Hello, welcome to Locked on Sharks, your premier podcast for all things Team Teal. My name is JD Young, one half of the Conte Boys. Kyle is still doing Kyle things, and I am assuming he is on his way to being a Olympic snowboard rider at this point. But today, we are going to be catching up on some news and notes around the Sharks and then previewing their newest division rival in the Seattle Kraken, looking at who the Kraken are and kind of the game plan for both the Kraken and the Sharks going into this game, and then give my prediction on the San Jose Sharks. As always, thank you for making us your first listen. You can get us wherever you get podcasts or subscribe to us on YouTube.
You're Locked on Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
So, yeah, the Sharks play tonight against the Seattle Kraken. The first time that they're going to be facing the Kraken. But before we get to the Kraken preview, we do have some news and notes around the Sharks. The biggest one being Kevin Labanc, who is going to be out a couple weeks. He left the game against the Stars with an upper body injury. It looks like it's something with his shoulder. Bob Boughner today said it's probably going to be 1 to 2 weeks before we see Kevin Labanc. I believe he's already been placed on IR. So, yeah, so the Sharks are going to be without their fourth line winger, who's been kind of underperforming this year, but that's still another person that you're going to have to call up. So in a corresponding move, the Sharks did call up Jaden Habawaks from the Barracuda. He has yet to play an NHL game, but in his 19 Barracuda games this year, he has 7 goals and 9 assists. So Habawaks has been kind of a staple with the Barracuda for the past few years. He's been on the Barracuda since the 2018-19 season. During that time, he's been kind of known as a goal scorer. So he had the 18-19 season, he had 13 goals in 64 games. The 19-20 season, he had 19 goals in 55 games. And then last year in the shortened season, he had 6 goals in 25 games. And then, like I said, he's 7 goals in 19 games so far this year. So, I know he's been with the Barracuda, kind of that goal scoring player with him. I know it's not 100% sure if Bob's going to put him in, but I mean, I think if you're trying to get some more offense in that bottom 6, Habawaks is the type of player who I think can kind of come in and maybe pot you a goal or two. But we'll see if he's going to be able to get enough playing time to do that. So I'm a little surprised that they didn't call up Nick Merkley, who played pretty well in his short time with the Sharkuda. Or Scott Reedy, who I know that they liked a lot too. But yeah, I mean, Habawaks, so I think he's probably earned it, especially with his time in the AHL. He's been there for a few years now, and he's 24 now. So I figure the Sharks will probably want to see what they got with him, and if it's worth continuing to try to develop him. But I mean, at this point, if he's 24, if you're probably are who you are at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he does get a couple games here to see if he can, maybe try to find some offense on that bottom line or that bottom 6. And then if not, then he's probably just going to be a career AHL guy. So, but yeah, again, not 100% sure if he will be playing. Bob's still kind of trying to decide and mess with his line. So another forward, Rudolfs, Balcers, who's been out for a couple weeks now. He should be back in probably about a week or two. So probably around Christmas time, maybe beginning of the year, with Rudolfs Balcers to help come back and support that middle 6, which has been, we've lost between now. It's Rudolfs Balcers has been missing, and then Labanc. You sent Eklund away. Like, you're starting to kind of take piece by piece from that, what made this team good with its depth. So hopefully getting Rudy back and help solidify that. I don't know where they're going to slide him in, because Gregor's been playing pretty well, especially now he's on that top line. But I mean, it's just another guy who can kind of come in and, Balcers is one of those players who can, if you need him to play the top line, he can kind of play in the top line, fill in for a little bit. If you need him, on the third line, he can excel in that position too. So, it'll be good to have Balcers back. One last also Mario Ferraro missed practice on Monday, but it's just a maintenance day, not to be worried. He should be in. So especially for, as we all have heard from the broadcast, the NHL's block shot leader, give him a day off here and there, make sure those ankles heal. Must protect Ferraro's ankles. One last small Sharks related news. Thomas Bordeleau will miss World Juniors again this year. If you don't know, if you're kind of new to the Locked On Sharks podcast, Bordeleau didn't get to play last year because he was a close contact. His roommate at the time, I think it's Beecher, who is a Boston prospect, got popped for a positive test. Turned out it was a false positive. So he missed World Juniors last year. Of course, the USA Juniors team went on to win gold last year. So he wasn't part of that. When we interviewed him this summer, he said he was super excited about World Juniors this year. And, he's been kind of chomping at the bit to get back to it. Missed a couple games this last weekend with University of Michigan due to an injury, but then he tested positive for COVID, so he will not get to represent USA in World Juniors, leaving William Eklund as the only Sharks prospect who will be represented at World Juniors. He'll be playing for Team Sweden. So yeah, just a tough break for Bordeleau, who seems, I know how important that was to him to play that. And it's just, those are the rules with the COVID stuff. And that's just, you have to follow those rules as much as it sucks. And, with that. And it's one of those things where you'd rather just be safe than sorry. And you feel bad for the kid. And, hopefully he'll get to, come back and play well for Michigan and hopefully sign his ELC after Michigan's done. But yeah, you just feel bad for the kid who's just missed out last year on winning a gold, and then now Team USA he was probably going to be their second line center behind Matty Beniers, and yeah, just tough break for the kids. So, but you know what isn't a tough break, or it's not tough? Shopping for Omaha Steaks. So I have used this product. I actually ordered this package for my parents for Christmas because I was like, I don't know what to get my parents, yada, yada, yada. So I just went on. I used the promo code NHL, went on, got my parents 24 entrees from the world, including the world famous bacon wrap filet mignons, chicken breasts, side desserts, and much, much more. When I used the promo code NHL, I also got 8 additional Omaha steak burgers sent to my parents for free. So that is what my parents are getting for Christmas. Mom and Dad, if you're listening right now, I'm sorry I spoiled Christmas for you. But so make sure you want to order now, because with reports of shortages and shipping, you don't want someone to get their Christmas present after. It's the worst feeling in the world when it's like, oh yeah, it may or may not get there. So go on right now, go to Omaha Steaks, search for the keyword NHL, and for $100 you get an amazing package that includes 4 bacon wrap filet mignons, 4 boneless chicken breasts, 4 Omaha steak burgers, 8 gourmet jumbo franks, 4 individual scale potatoes, 4 caramel apple tartlets, and some seasoning. The seasoning's very good. And again, if you order now and use that promo code, you get an additional 8 Omaha steak burgers. So go check out Omaha Steaks, save some money, make your parents happy. And then we also want to talk to you guys about our friends over at Boost Mobile. So you listen to podcasts for the power of the inside track. You switch to Boost Mobile for the power of saving money. Because with Boost, you get the power of free 5G phone so you can listen to the latest episodes and keep up with your favorite players and teams. The power of 3 unlimited data lines for $30 a month per line so your family can share all the insights. And with the power of one of America's largest 5G networks, so you can do it all with the speed of 5G. With all that money you'll save and all that edge you'll gain, just how powerful will you become? Switch to Boost Mobile and find out. Get a free Samsung Galaxy AG 5G, A32 5G when you switch to one of the largest networks 5G networks in America. More power to save, Boost Mobile. Disclaimer, free phone limited to new customers and one per line. Additional restrictions apply. Offers/coverage not available everywhere for all phones/networks. See boostmobile.com for details. Okay. So the Sharks play the Kraken tonight. So let's go ahead and talk about the Sharks first. So there's a slight change in the lines recently. So right now we get to see the line combinations of Barabanov, Hurdle, and Meyer, which is kind of the same that we saw last. Dahlin, Couture, Gregor, Cogliano, Benito, and Nieto. And then it's going to be some combination of Weatherby, also with Gadjevich, Habawaks, and Peterson. So I kind of want to see the Habawaks, Gadjevich, and Weatherby. Peterson has been kind of non-existent when he's been out there. And I know Gadjevich hasn't done too much either, but I feel like he's really close to kind of breaking through. So he's kind of one of those players who seems to always be in the right place at the right time. And he's been really close to kind of putting one in the net. So I'm hoping for the Weatherby, Gadjevich, Habawaks line. Let's just roll that out and see what happens with those. The defense pairs looks like they should be the same as of last time. I know Shimmick was practicing with Burns with Ferraro out, but I don't expect them to probably change too much, especially since the Sharks were pretty good defensively last game. And then Reimer will be starting as well, so that'll be good to see him coming back after being sick. Turned out it was a lower body injury so again, the teal curtain continues their hiding of injuries. So that makes me a little bit worried about the Labanc injury, where it feels like, we hear, oh, he'll be, day to day or week to week or whatever. And then it's been 6 weeks and we still don't know where he is. So the Sharks love to kind of keep quiet about injuries like that. So, but yeah, good for Reimer to be back to 100% and starting a game in which, the Sharks, I feel like the Sharks should be able to take care of the Kraken. So let's look at the Kraken's lines right now. So Jaden Schwartz, Jared McCann, and Jordan Eberle. So not too bad. I know McCann, he's been pretty good this year. Marcus Johansson, Alexander Weinberg, and Mason Appleton. Brendan Tenev, Morgan Geeky, Kayla Jarnagak. I'm bad at it. And then the all Sharks fourth line, Ryan Donato, Alexander True, and Jonas Donskoy. Which I think the Kraken are just trolling at this point, if that's the line that they're going to put out. But on defense, they have Giordano and Oleski, Dunn, Larson, Fleury, Borgen, and then Philip Grubauer and Joey Decord. Again, like the way the Kraken kind of built their team, right? It felt like they were going to be one of those, kind of like how the Sharks are this year, where strong defensive, good goaltending, and then we're going to kind of squeak out some goals here and there. And that plan really hasn't come to fruition with them. Philip Grubauer has been bad. I would say it's probably the best, especially when he's not behind that vaunted Colorado Avalanche line. And yeah, he's definitely has not had the season that they had hoped for when they signed him this summer to, first of all, an illegal contract, which I think is really funny, that they had to redo his contract because I think there was like too much money up front or something like that. They didn't have it divvied out the right way. But yeah, he has not been super great this year, where to the point of, he's had to play a lot of games, but like, he's just hasn't been the same guy. So Philip Grubauer right now has played 22 games so far this year with an .884 save percentage and .325 goals allowed. Chris Streeter, who we were kind of, pondering if the Sharks should try to take a run at him, has been worse at .876 save percentage and 3.6 goals against. And Joey Decord used to be a Sens prospect. .866 save percentage, and 381 goals allowed. These are Martin Jones-esque numbers here. So for a team that's supposed to be built on its defense and then good goaltending, we've seen plenty of times with the Sharks where when the goaltending is bad, it doesn't matter what else is going on in front of you. So, but yeah, for the forwards though, like Schwartz is leading the Kraken in points right now. He's got 19 points. Jordan Eberle's got 12 goals, and then McCann's got 11 goals as well to kind of lead that group. And then Jaden Schwartz has got 13 assists, and Jonas Donskoi 13 assists and no goals for Jonas Donskoi. That's pretty good. That's pretty funny. But so yeah, I think with the Kraken, what their whole plan was to be a kind of defensive first team, but they've been, like their offense has been okay. They're kind of middle in the pack when it comes to average goals for per game. So I think they rank 18th at 285 in comparison. The Sharks are 23rd with 2.68 goals per game. But because you switch over to the goals allowed, the Kraken are the third worst team at 3.59 goals allowed per game. They're up there with the Senators, who have been god-awful this year, the Arizona Coyotes, who are literally the worst team in the NHL, the Buffalo Sabres, Canadians, like all these kind of bottom dweller teams. And then the Sharks are, one of kind of like right outside the top 10. So the Sharks are 14th when it comes to goals allowed per game, where they're at 2.71. So the Sharks' whole thing has been, we're going to play good defense and try to scratch out offense, and that's been working for the most part for them this season, except for when they play some of the upper echelon teams. And the Kraken just haven't been able to kind of do that same formula of, hey, let's just play a bunch of, close games and stuff like that. And they've been getting kind of shellacked in some of these games. I know they've started to kind of turn the corner a little bit, but it's, it's tough sometimes. Like not every team is the Vegas Golden Knights where they can just kind of come out here and then expect to compete right away. And this is, we kind of talked about, at least Kyle and I thought going into this season, where it's going to be tough for this team to be good. And there was a lot of people who were like, oh, they're going to make the playoffs and stuff like that. And it's just like, I don't see it. Like they just don't have enough offense. And I mean, granted, the Sharks offense isn't much better, but it's like the penalty kill, like the Kraken, like they don't really have anything that they can hang their hat on, right? It's like the Kraken's penalty kill is 14th in the league at 81.7%. Like their power play is 22nd in the league at 17.3%. They don't have that one thing, and that's fine when you're an expansion team to try to, you're still trying to figure yourself out. But so yeah, like I think for the Sharks, if they can kind of get their game plan going, like what they're going to do, and they should have a good chance to win this. So after this break, we'll go ahead and look at what the game plan is for each team and their kind of road to victory. And I will give my prediction for tonight's game. But first, need to take a quick break and talk to you guys about our friends over at Stance. So like, if you're me, like you do have a regular day job, you have to wear, socks and like dressing up for work and stuff like that. Like there's not much chance to show your personality, but that's where like socks come in. So, they're a great way to kind of have that little sneak peek of your personality. Like me, I have some Brent Burns socks. I have some Star Wars socks, stuff like that, where it kind of gives a little peek of my personality. But then, sometimes, you want to make sure you're able to treat yourself and have some nice, good quality socks. That's where Stance comes in. So, especially this time of year, you want to find something nice for your friends or family. You want something that's really soft, but also durable. That's Stance. They have incredible active apparel, and that covers everything from socks, shirts, joggers, and hoodies. They've also, you don't have to worry about like them wearing out, and there's nothing worse than like old socks. And the great thing is that they have a bunch that are, that can fit your personality. If you're into, like The Office or Harry Potter, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, The Goonies, Wu-Tang Clan, Batman, Major League Baseball, NBA, Pixar, they've got you covered. So you can still show that little bit of personality while you're trying to dress up. So Stance believes that the perfect fit matters more than fitting in. that those who feel good do good. So see for yourself. Register for an account at stance.com and get 15% off your first purchase. Use the promo code locked on at checkout to apply. Enjoy the color and comfort of life less ordinary with Stance. All right, so what is the game plan? We'll start with the Sharks. So what is the game plan for the Sharks? So I think if you can continue what you were doing is, especially for a team that's not as offensively gifted as the Kraken are, this is the part, like the Sharks have had a really tough schedule. And this is the part where the schedule where it really kind of softens up, right? They have the Kraken. They're going to be playing Vancouver twice in a row. Like you have to start banking these wins here. So if the Sharks, they can get on their game plan, they can establish their forecheck, they can continue to, maintain a good offensive time and getting those shots, like continue like peppering Grubauer, who has been kind of a Sharks killer on Colorado. But if you get to these guys and you start shooting early and you make, you get that first goal in, that's their road to victory, is just do what you're good at doing, right? Like keep the shots outside make Reimer's life easy, and then try to establish your forecheck and try to establish a lot of zone time, because that's something the Sharks have been kind of struggling with lately, especially against these good teams. So playing against a bad team like the Kraken, that's where the Sharks, they need to be able to do kind of do that stuff and work, this is time where you can work on your transition game, you can work on your offensive zone time. And these line, like the Hurdle-Meyer Couture line, or the Hurdle-Meyer Barabanov line, like these guys should eat, right? The Couture line, like these lines need to be your best lines, and I don't think the Kraken have guys who can match up to these. And then if on the defensive side, like if Carlson continues to do what Carlson does, and if Brent Burns and Ferraro can kind of shut down the other team, which they've been up to taskish sometimes, that's where the Sharks, I think, should be able to establish. So with the Kraken, so how they need to play, right? So again, they're not a team that's going to, like they do have some offense, and then you just got to hope for them that, like, if the Sharks just have a kind of a bad shooting night, or maybe like the penalty, if the power play for the Kraken's been okay, it's like 17%. So maybe you get a couple clicking here, and then the Sharks just aren't able to kind of keep up with it. So, I think if the Kraken can kind of keep it a low scoring game and maybe squeak out one at the end, and hope that your guys like your Weinbergs or your John, like one of these guys can kind of step up and score there. But I don't really see the path to victory for the Sharks here. So that's why I'm expecting an easy 4-1 win for the Sharks. And I'm going to say Timo Meier, 2 goals for Timo tonight. So he's been knocking on the doorsteps a few times, but hasn't scored recently. So I think we see a lot of Timo time tonight. I don't see how the Kraken can kind of keep up with that Hurdle Meier line. So that's my prediction. 4-1 win for the Sharks, and then we'll be having a good time tomorrow talking about how the Sharks are back, good vibes back, all that fun stuff. So that will do it for me today. We will be back, like I said, tomorrow to review the Kraken game. Hopefully Kyle should be back, so you'll get to get the nice chaotic energy of Kyle, which I do miss right now. You can, of course, find us on Twitter. So thank you guys for, again, all of you guys who tweet at us and interact with us, making us the most engaged Twitter account per fan for the 20th week in a row. You guys are the best. Kyle and I talk about it all the time. We don't understand why we're anywhere near as popular as we are, just because we make dumb jokes and all that fun stuff on Twitter. But thank you guys. If you're not following us on Twitter, you really should. That's where all the best work is. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I will see your stuff there as well. Not as many memes, but I'll post some of the good ones on there too. And then, of course, you can download and listen to the show wherever you get your podcasts. So Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Anchor, wherever, Pocket Cast, they've got you covered. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We're at 465, so we're 35 away from me recreating the jumbo slide in my living room and probably getting a lot of bruises and bumps because we have hardwood floors. So yeah, make sure you guys subscribe. The ultimate goal is 1,000, but baby steps on our way. You can follow me on Twitter at myfryhole. Kyle is at Kyle Demetrius. You can ask him when he's going to be debuting as a professional snowboarder. And of course, thank you guys for making us your first listen. Go check out Locked On Bets. Go check out Locked On Kraken if you want to learn more about the Kraken before tonight's game. And we will be back tomorrow. Bye, friends.